The Occultist Review. It happens that a game from a tiny team with a modest budget suddenly becomes popular for many years. But sometimes it's the opposite. A new release goes unnoticed, even with a renowned studio or great voice actors. That's exactly what happened with The Occultist, whose protagonist is voiced by Doug Cockle, famous for playing Geralt. Neither his performance, nor the gripping trailer, cinematic cutscenes, or creepy setting could save the game, which is built on a dull atmosphere and derivative storytelling. Some parents leave their children houses, debts, or illnesses as an inheritance. Alan wasn't so lucky. He got a whole family curse. For many years, his father Gabriel was obsessed with Godstone Island and the mysteries surrounding it. Then he mysteriously disappeared, leaving his life's work in the hands of his son. Perhaps the investigation will go better now, because Alan is an occultist who can communicate not only with the living, but also with the dead. This will come in handy, since there isn't a single living soul left on Godstone. The island's inhabitants are long unrested ghosts. In his investigation, Alan is helped by a pendulum that detects anomalies and reveals hidden objects. At first, the hero only uses true sight, but later he learns other tricks. He can rewind time, control a phantom crow, and even a swarm of rats. Shortly after arriving on the island, Alan discovers that a secret cult once operated in the town. Their victims were innocent children from the orphanage, and his own father was among those affected. As the hero makes his way through the town, he learns about Gabriel's friends and the fate of the unfortunate orphans, visits long-abandoned houses that still hold terrible stories, uncovers the secrets of a grim hospital, escapes from the orphanage, and wanders through the cemetery. The description of the locations sounds promising, just right for a small but very creepy adventure that could tickle your nerves, scare you with a couple of jump scares, and immerse you in the mysteries of an abandoned town. In reality, though, they are far less atmospheric or frightening. Alan rarely encounters enemies, and the ones that exist are heavily scripted and simple, while most of the gameplay consists of puzzles and running back and forth between points. Where exactly is there time to immerse yourself in the story and actually feel scared? A creepy girl in a wheelchair patrols the hospital corridor, and this could have been scary. But the poor thing can't enter rooms, makes quite a lot of noise, moves slowly, and annoys more than she frightens. The other enemies are just as pitiful. Wind-up dolls stomp loudly through the corridors and can't even sneak up on you, while you can easily run away from a ghost in a scripted scene. When I reached the amusement center, I involuntarily started comparing the game to Alan Wake II. I remembered my feelings and realized that what scared me in that game wasn't jump scares or enemies. Far more terrifying was the anticipation of danger. When fog thickened just a few steps away from the safety of Watery, twilight crept in, and you could hear rustling and eerie music from the local carousels coming out of the darkness. In the entire 6 hours of playing The Occultist, it never managed to create a similar feeling of anxiety. Every area here feels like a safe, sterile playground for solving puzzles. Most of the time in this location, there are no sounds at all, no ambient noise, not even a slightly unsettling melody. The protagonist doesn't help with immersion either. In the company of this tough and calm Geralt, sorry, Alan, it's hard to feel like you're in a horror game, especially when every event is accompanied by his incredibly banal, movie-like one-liners. A worthy rival to Leon Kennedy. At some point I started collecting them and couldn't stop. Restless souls, jump scares, and creepy dolls do everything they can to distract Alan from studying Godstone and solving the puzzles that help him piece together events from long ago. Some riddles require using the pendulum and attentiveness to examine locations through the amulet's lens. Others the hero writes down in his journal and solves later. At the same time, the game doesn't trust the player's intellect at all and leads you by the hand toward the solution of every puzzle. While you can ignore the journal, remember information, and draw conclusions yourself, using the pendulum always brings up an arrow that points directly to hidden objects. For example, Alan can't enter the basement of a house inhabited by a ghost. To make peace with it, you need to find the names of all family members and figure out who exactly is guarding the stairs down. In other puzzles, you'll have to redraw erased runes, decipher children's rhymes, pick locks, forge signatures, and measure doses of medicine to create remedies. You'll even need to recall your skills from the mortuary assistant to apply post-mortem makeup. Alan's other abilities, Time Rewind, the Phantom Crow, and the Swarm of Rats, also help solve puzzles, collect items, and fight bosses. With the rat swarm, you can attack enemies. The familiar brings shiny trinkets from places the hero can't reach. Time Rewind lets you restore permanently lost objects. It's a shame that the seeds of these interesting mechanics were ruined by everything else. Simple puzzles that the game practically spoon-feeds you, irritating enemies, and a sluggish atmosphere where only jump scares can even attempt to scare you. The Occultist is an excellent example of a mediocre, forgettable game. You won't lose anything by skipping it, and you won't learn anything new if you play it. Beautiful locations are ruined by the lack of atmosphere and interesting monsters. The protagonist's one-liners often pull you out of the story even more, and remind you that the whole game is a collection of second-rate cliches you've already seen in dozens of other horrors. The puzzles force you to walk around the same locations over and over while avoiding very annoying enemies. Pros: beautiful locations, puzzles involving drawing cons. The tough protagonist and lack of scary enemies turn the horror into a walking simulator with puzzles, weak atmosphere, poor performance.